Important information about your credit rating. You could be hurting it without even knowing about it, even if you pay your bills on time. At issue, where you shop. And Chris is always watching your money for you.
We're trying, Rob. You know, this is a tricky one. Did you know that paying bills promptly can still damage your credit rating? How? Well, it depends where you shop. The big government rescue plan was supposed to get the banks to start lending, right? But some banks are sitting on a lot of that money while figuring out new ways to limit your access to credit.
At just 29 years old, Kevin Johnson is the type of customer most credit card companies would want.
Hi, Quentin. This is Kevin Johnson with Johnson Media.
The CEO of a PR firm in downtown Atlanta, he owns his own home and has what most experts consider a stellar credit score, a 764.
My dad worked in the credit industry, and so talking about finances was a common thing in our household.
Johnson says his father taught him to manage credit wisely. So 2 years ago, he jumped at the chance to get an American Express Blue credit card.
They have a wonderful rewards program where I can get a lot for my money.
He says he never paid late, never went over his limit, and rarely carried much of a balance. But in October, while he was on his honeymoon, American Express sent Johnson this letter, drastically reducing his credit line by $7,000. One reason given.
It says other customers who have used their card at establishments where you recently shopped have a poor repayment history with American Express. And so after I read that, that's what really made me upset.
Professor Robert Manning studies the credit card industry.
Essentially, banks have gone wild, saying, we don't like the behavior of other people that are shopping in stores that you are currently conducting business. Therefore, that raises questions about your ability to repay the loan.
It's a process called behavioral analysis. Banks like Amex are now mining your purchases with your card to justify reducing credit in a down economy.
How much of this is going on?
Oh, it's increasing all the time.
But while it may be increasing, behavioral analysis is also drawing scrutiny. Last year, the Federal Trade Commission sued another company called CompuCredit for not telling customers where they shop could affect their credit limits. In that case, CompuCredit reduced credit lines for customers who use their cards at marriage counselors and auto repair shops. Last month, it settled the case without admitting guilt. Johnson says he used his card at major restaurants like Ruby Tuesdays and to pay his monthly satellite radio charges. In fact, he says looking at his bill from October, only one store stands out. This Walmart in an Atlanta neighborhood where he'd never previously used his card. But Amex refused to tell him if it was that trip or any other, which raised a red flag.
Where this gets suspect is that not only are they doing this, but they're doing it and not telling you, right?
Well, that's the key here, Chris. I mean, what are the rules of the game? That's all consumers really want to know. And in midstream, Amex changed the rules of the game and didn't even inform that person.
Johnson says he tried for more than a month to get his credit limit restored, pointing out repeatedly he has 3 corporate accounts with Amex, all in good standing. And when he finally did reach someone,
she said, we don't find anything out of the ordinary here.
Good Morning America wanted to talk to American Express about behavioral analysis, but the company refused, issuing this statement instead. Our intent is to strike the right balance between accommodating our card members' spending needs and at the same time prudently managing credit risk. While we may use additional data points, the driving factor for any credit limit reduction is the customer's debt level.
I was there.
But Robert Manning says if anyone was prudently managing risk, it was Johnson, not Amex. Just this month, American Express took more than $3 billion in tax money as part of the government's rescue program.
So let me get this straight. Johnson, taxpayer, his money goes to TARP. They give it to Amex, his credit card company. And now it's like to hoard it, they punish Johnson. Right. Is that really what's going on here?
What they're trying to do is squeeze the people they're making money from. And unfortunately, by reducing the line of credit, it could hurt his credit score and lead to a higher interest rate on other loans that he has.
Is anybody doing anything about this?
Oh, this is a real big issue, especially with the recession, Chris, and it's not on anybody's radar screen.
So Good Morning America decided to put it there. We wanted to get answers for Johnson and others like him and took the issue to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
American Express, they took money from TARP. Are you going to enforce how banks get to use this money? Credit card companies could be the next wave.
It could be the next wave. The curtain has been pulled back on how the financial services community has misserved the American people. Those days are over.
Pelosi says she's hopeful new accountability requirements in the TARP will prevent banks from taking tax dollars and then refusing to lend them.
That's good. That sort of breaks the ice.
And as for Kevin Johnson,
I would like them to restore the credit, but more than that, I would like them to become more transparent. I don't think anyone would agree to being discriminated against based on where they shop. I can tell them apart.
Part of this is about being notified. Part of this is about who is being made the priority. The card holders who are lending money to these banks, or the banks in terms of managing their bottom line. Kevin was so frustrated by this, he created his own website called New Credit Rules. You can find a link to it at abcnews.com. While you're there, tell us if there's another story we should be looking into.
I love how he said about being transparent. That's what. So should we pay attention if we're using our credit card at a gas station, a discount store, things like that?
Unfortunately, yes. Shouldn't have to. You should focus on paying your bill on time, but now there are other factors.
All right. Thanks for getting some answers for us, Chris.